I feel like we should do like a little happy dance because we're at the end of the semester. We're at the last module, and that is so exciting for everybody. Not only have you all made it through your first semester, I've made it through my first semester in my position, so I'm very happy about that. So today, I'm going to not exactly be following the PowerPoint that I put up for you guys in this module that's on professional issues and advocacy. What I do want to go over is kind of the supervision piece of everything. So I went ahead and kind of modified the content area, if you will. I know that I titled this module professional issues and advocacy, but I really felt that it was important to go ahead and include something about supervision at this point in the program. You're kind of wrapping up this first semester. So I put some articles on supervision and rehab counseling on within the module under a supervision folder. So I encourage you to look at those, even though we're going to be focusing on professional advocacy within the discussion board and the major PowerPoint here. But when it comes to supervision, unfortunately, rehab counselors don't exactly have the best reputation for not only providing supervision, but providing quality supervision. And I'm hoping, and I think through the efforts of up and coming supervisors, that we're making a shift in that, and with kind of the profession understanding now the importance of licensure. And when you go to accumulate hours for licensure, you will have to be supervised. And so I hope that there's a shift within rehab counseling in general around supervision. But to me, supervision should always happen throughout a person's career. There should never be a time where somebody is not being supervised to a degree. It really does a disservice to the counselor and the counselor's clients whenever the supervision isn't taking place. There's a lot of benefits to supervision. Not only can you have that time and that space to talk with somebody that has typically more experience, has been down that path before, and may be able to offer some guidance around next steps or direction to take with a client. But you're also able to address all the other issues, the boundary issues that could come up within a counseling relationship, feelings that you might have about a client, questions that you are asking yourself about your perception of a client, who they are, all the cultural and social justice type issues that we talk about. Those are things you can discuss within supervision, and that allows you the space and the time to do that without judgment. I mean, supervision should be free from judgment. Any supervisor that is calling themselves a supervisor in counseling, especially those that are LPC supervisors, will have additional training in supervision. And there are models of supervision, just like there are theoretical orientations for counseling. The same goes for different models and frameworks around supervision in counseling. There's full-blown classes that can be taught about supervision. So, we're not going to get into that within this space, within this module. It's too much, but it's something to be kind of keeping in the back of your mind for later if you're interested. After you've worked, a number of years with a licensure or certification, then you might be eligible to become a supervisor yourself. The profession's always in need of supervisors. It really is. It's hard for people that are seeking out a licensure. If they're not working in an agency where supervision is provided, it's hard to find supervision sometimes. So it is something that I think is beneficial to keep the profession going, to keep the ball rolling. So that's my little spiel about supervision and counseling. And then as far as advocacy is concerned, the focus of last week was on social justice issues and advocacy, more on if we're looking at like the ACA advocacy competencies, little model within the PowerPoints, a little cube. If you're thinking about what we focused on last week and social justice issues, really we were kind of focusing on the competency domains that were really around your interactions with the client. In this case, because none of you are going to be school counselors, so with the client. And within professional advocacy, we're taking it, a step further than that. And so professional advocacy can kind of be focused on the public arena in terms of competency domains. And professional advocacy is really ensuring that we one, identify as professional counselors, so that we start to begin to develop that professional identity as a counselor. And that can be really important if you think about the ways in which you identify yourself. If you're clicking off boxes on a demographic survey, does something else come to mind in terms of your career and your occupation? Do you feel like you're a professional counselor? And you may not feel that way right now. You're new students, but hopefully by the end of the program, you'll really start to identify truly as a counselor working in the field. And the reason that it's important to do that, to start to develop your professional identity as a counselor, or rehabilitation counselor, or whatever specialty area you want to focus on, is because we have to have a voice in this profession. We are, I hate to use the word competing, but to a large degree competing out there in the world for jobs with other professions that have had a larger voice, especially in the political arena. And if you think about the jobs that are available that are specifically looking to hire social workers, or until we were able to kind of pursue this licensure option, roles that we're hiring specifically for counselors and therapists, and not looking at rehabilitation counselors or people that had a rehabilitation counseling degree. This degree is perfect because we cover everything, rehab counseling and clinical mental health counseling, but it hasn't always been that way. And so with counseling in general, because there's been divides in the past, school counselors kind of stuck to themselves, and rehab counselors, hung out in their own little group. And then you had the community mental health counselors that were just kind of where they were, very independent in their own practices. And then you had, those that are in career counseling, or working in college settings. So, we have to come together collectively so that we can push legislation through, so we can ensure that our credentials continue to mean something, and that our ability to become licensed means something, and that the public continues to see us at the same level, if not higher, than those social workers that are licensed out there in our communities. So I wanted to focus on the ACA advocacy competencies, so that I think it's a nice little way to wrap up and frame your the work that you're going to do moving forward. And so within the discussion post for this week, what I want you to do is actually take the ACA advocacy competencies survey. So I really want you to kind of sit down and say, hey, where am I right now? Like, where am I in terms of levels of being an advocate? What are my areas for improvement? What are my strengths? What can I be doing? What kind of action plan can I put together for myself, so that I can ensure that I'm advocating for my clients, I'm advocating for myself, for my profession, and everything in between. So I want you to take a look at the ACA advocacy competencies as a whole. So that's what the PowerPoint presentation focuses on, each domain and what that could look like, what clients need to be doing, and what counselors need to be doing at each domain level. And then hopefully you can kind of brainstorm where you are within this entire process, and start thinking outside the box in terms of where you want to be, maybe even a year from now, because it'll be amazing. If you think where you're going to be a year from now, you're going to be almost approaching, those practicum and internship experiences, and you'll have a ton of coursework under your belt. So give yourselves a pat on the back for making it this far. And with that, like I said, it's a short lecture. I know we're all tired at this point. We're burnt out, right? We need summer. We need a summer break. So go ahead and take a look at all the materials that I've got for you. I hope you find them interesting. I will be posting a review video, like a little lecture, before the final opens up. So as far as what we have to finish for this semester, you've got the discussion post for this week, your community resource assignment, which is included in this module as well. However, it's due on the 28th, so it's not due in a week from now. You got a couple extra days, and then there will be a couple day period where you're hopefully just focusing on studying for the finals and getting everything else wrapped up for your other classes before our final will open for this class. But I'll post a review video as soon as I develop the final. As soon as I get that all squared away, I'll get some information up for you to help you guys study. So if anybody needs anything, if you have any questions, concerns, whatever, reach out. be happy to have a chat. But with that, I'll let you get back to the discussion board.